Greetings, all praising the King. Welcome to iwit, an eye with an eye. Today's discussion is on war. In particular, in these times, in the Bible, in Revelation 19, it speaks about the beast and the kings of the earth gather to make war against the one that sits on the horse and his armies. The war is not what we think of. The battlefield has changed. It's increasingly more economical, social, digital. Soft violence is a preferred method today over hard. What is it? It is psychological in many cases. And it allows for the aggressor to penetrate their victims. It's a form of mind control. But it's not an influential in the sense that there's an attempt to convince a person of untruth, but it is a form of agitation to obtain damaging effects to the victims. Stimuli is one way that this is done. When you have helicopters, when you have the police sirens, and when you have these unnatural noises, they make these trucks now to make these loud noises. And they also, emit this black soot into the air. This is something the aggressor, who is part of the army of that world class, the kings of the earth, uses against their enemy. This only has an ill effect on certain individuals. It doesn't, like a police siren is designed to agitate only people that have had bad experiences with the police or the lights on the police car. So it could be audio or visual. Again, these are forms of soft violence. You're inflicting a pain on your enemies slowly. Of course, the jail cell. You can put this in the social category. You know, the jail is not meant, as some people may think, to really make people better, so that people don't go out and do the same things. The jail is probably not meant to do anything at this point. You know, the departments have become so corrupt, and the lifestyle, the environment that these people are placed in causes those employees to go mad. You know, a form of soft violence. You know, when you starve someone in jail, when you lose 30 pounds in a matter of weeks because you don't have nutrition, that's a form of soft violence, especially if you're already, you know, at a, you're not overweight, in other words. Now, this digital is increasingly popular for the beast bodies to use as a form of violence against their victims. You know, now this is perhaps not maybe considered violence to most people, because most people are unaware of what is happening. But see, in this world, they're able to manipulate so as to cause a person to not be able to function. You know, as we increasingly go into this new internet era, you know, we are being told that, you know, we will be more required to use this for our living standards. You know, I'm careful to say, you know, to survive, you know, but really what it is I used to have a store, let's say, people come in, they want to take a picture on a smart device and show me I don't have a smart device. So a lot of times they try to communicate with you and you're unable to do it. Now, a lot of people get turned away by that. Like, I have people call me, like, crazy or, you know, stuff like that. And of course, they don't say it like, you know, in a rude way, but you know, you're still calling someone crazy. People are expected, you know, like they say, keep up with the Kardashian. You know, get the smart device. You know, if you don't, then your business will suffer. If you work for a company, the company is going to give you one of those devices. Otherwise, you won't work for that company. You know, along with this, of course, is the privatization we've talked about, and this is just a way for them to hide their activities. This digital world allows for, you know, the beast bodies to go in behind the screens and, like I say, manipulate the activities. Now, they have something they call a throttle. So they're actually able to slow down your activity on the internet. Let's say if you make this video right here and you go to save it, you know, because you have to edit it or whatever, it might take a long time for that video to save. If you're just moving files, if you're putting files on DVDs, anyway, they have the ability to slow down the computer. You know, many years ago there was a talk about how the Wall Street traders were using these lasers to be able to do the stock trading much quicker. So now you have the introduction of these supercomputers and the ability for certain individuals to manipulate what others do. So it's not just like, you know, them looking in, as well as them actually, you know, got a hand in it. We've done videos that have been manipulated. The sound will be altered. the sound is very important. The timing is very important. It's easy for them to manipulate these things. So if you have a video, let's say, you know, they've come out with this new site for the youth, TikTok. This is to counter the YouTube, because the YouTube became the second most visited website on the internet, and it really became branded as like a conspiracy theorist type platform. It was initially created for like fun, you know, watch the cats, watch the kids, but now it's really become something where people are engaging around this idea of truth. And this is dangerous, because when people discover the truth on their own and come together, they're able to verify that this is true. You know, where two or three meet, the Lord is in the midst. So they hate, the manipulators hate this because, you know, they are constantly trying to feed us. They're looking to feed us over here, you know, with their information. And they don't, like, when they feed us information, rarely do they tell us, like, where does the information come from. But see, they've built up these institutional models we talked about that people are willing to believe, mostly because they think that others believe this. So we'll call it institutional popularity. You know, when people see others doing something, they will tend to follow them and do the same, because they interpret that as, this action right here will help me, because if it wouldn't, then others wouldn't be doing it. So the mere idea that the only information that we see is that institutional product, those same mainstream communication channels, is enough to build up that temple. You know, people see it and they it's a shock and awe. Oh, this must be true. It must be true. So meanwhile, while they're feeding the information and monitoring our activities, they're also manipulating what we do. This is why, you know, the push is now to go into the digital era, and what ties to the economics is this cryptic currency. Easily manipulated, owned, private. Yeah, nobody, whoever owns it, whoever it is, doesn't have to do anything. They can rip you off tomorrow, and there's nothing you can do. The institutions will come in and say, well, protect you. But when they do rip you off, see what you're going to have to go through to try to get your money. You know, the idea that people would pay more for a digital currency, something, a number on a screen, something intangible, than a bill, something tangible. You know, because when they were first pitching this, it was like $40 for this Bitcoin, for one Bitcoin. And the thought was, how is it more? Like, when you have the English pound, it always has more value than the American dollar. There was a reason for that. So when you do the currency exchange, right, the pound will get you more dollars. Well, how is it that you have a digital currency that just came out, you know, like a penny stock? Because this is what they function as, just as a stock that costs more than the dollar, you see? But again, that's what they are. It's a stock market. It's private. You know, the idea of something called a government was to have currency, you know, a real government. Some kind of means to trade. Now, of course, You can have a social order where you don't have, the actual medium of exchange, except for the goods and services themselves. But you would have some kind of method of tracking of eventually, you would have a method to be able to value those goods and services. Now, the stimuli, as we discussed, is also visual. And again, we talked about the information that's being shared. So sometimes this form of stimuli can be conceptual in the sense that it requires the recipient to actually analyze what it is that they're seeing or being shown. So for the common person, this may not be practical. However, for people who actually may be deemed a threat because they actually think about what it is that's going on around them and how that this world is being manipulated by a few kings, the world classes. This may have another effect on them because this information is crap. When they tell you that the scientists have now said, this is safe. Where did they get that? What scientists? How did they come up with that information? And of course, you're supposed to go search for it. Now, search for it, you're going to go down their road. You're going to see their dwellings, their signs, and everything else that they're going to show you. So, for somebody that sees how things go on, this can be kind of upsetting. And that's also a form of soft violence. Just the information that's being pushed on us. Just to see what others are, willing to believe. Even if others don't believe, because a lot of times you have people that claim to be opposed to something that's happening around it. You can name it. It could be abortion. It could be race, or it could be sexual, indecent exposures. You see how women are being dressed, and girls. So when you have people are aware of this, but they don't take action against it, then these could be just people following each other. They think that, this is how they've been raised to think this way, that's how they think. But deep down, they're not passionate enough about it to actually make a move. So the information is designed to make people think. There's something's being done about something. Except that's not for everybody. You see, the two tongues. Well, even as the politicians speak in two tongues, because they have to reach what they call their base, which is the majority of the people, and they have to reach their donors, which are the ones that pay for their campaigns. Well, you also have these media institutional communication channels who speak in two tongues. Because again, they've got to appease those that know what's going on and like it because it benefits them, and they've got to appease those that don't know what's going on. But what they don't have to do is appease those that know what's going on and don't agree with it because they know it's wrong. Yeah. So then you have three tongues, and the third one is the form of mockery. Yeah. They might show you a fake rebel, as we've discussed this staged opposition. And real people can know, just by the looks. It could be BLM. You look at these people, and you say to yourself, first of all, is that a woman? And then you say, these other ones, yeah, she's supposed to represent the ghetto girl who made it, you know what I mean? The other girl's supposed to represent that might be a man too. So it's mockery because you know when you see it, they're not for real. 3 tongues. The third one, a form of violence. It does affect those that can see. This throttle thing is big. The idea that people put onto the internet, a force for their work to go onto the internet. And if they decide to veer from what road they've been placed on, here comes the aggressor. The Babylon beast body working at the disposal of the world-class kings. They've set up their stations. They have their satellites. You see them in the sky. They see you. The communication channels are not speaking about it. They're telling us about something else. Right? It doesn't matter. They're not speaking about it. We're still learning about UFOs. Some more tax money needs to go to NASA to do more research on UFOs. And so the company SpaceX can make a profit. When you see it, it looks like a star, but it's not. It's unnatural. It's stimuli. It's soft violence against natural people. So, in today's digital age, much of this is done on the smart device. They are flooding people with information. These are images. And people take these images and they plant them right here. And then whenever they see something, boom, the image pops up. Now they make a relation. I had found a movie called The Passion, the propaganda on the Christ. And I thought, all right, I'm gonna see what this is all about. So I put it on, and I don't think I got through the first scene before I was fast forwarding it, and I got to the point where they, I skipped a few, and then I get to Herod. I see this guy coming out with the wig or whatever, and so right away that movie is going into the trash. But what they attempt to do now is to plant this image in your mind. So when you are reading from Luke and you come across the story of Herod and you think, oh, I know what Herod was all about. I know what Herod was doing. I know who he was with. This thing. So instead of allowing our God to allow us to be natural and creative and decide for ourselves what this message is, what it means to us, they will tell us, you see, what to think. Take us out away. Because ultimately that is their goal, is to bring us to a place of worship and serve the mad monkey, and to take us away from our God, the Master.